disrespected. This whole process seems inhumane.
Now at 9, the man who hit and killed 2 other men on I-5 in Seattle learns how many years he will spend in prison, why the victims' families believe it should have been a harsher punishment.
So far, rain and mountain snow have been abundant across the Pacific Northwest, and it looks like we're going to continue to see a series of systems moving in, but nothing that appears to be too extreme. We'll track that in your full forecast coming up.
I think the reason we've held on so long is just because we were determined to do it.
A major milestone for a fixture of Seattle's LGBTQ+ community. How the landmark lesbian bar has defied the odds and continues to fight for representation.
I'm going to buy my first one right now, ever.
As lottery fever sweeps the country over tonight's billion-dollar Mega Millions jackpot, people across Western Washington flock to a store that knows a thing or two about luck. King 5 News at 9 starts right now.
Her son, and my son, they are gone forever. We miss them every single second of our lives.
The 3 mothers devastated by loss say justice has not been served after their sons were killed in separate hit-and-run crashes by the same driver. Thanks for being with us at 9. I'm Steve Solis.
And I'm Madison Wade. Today, that 22-year-old driver was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the most recent crash, which killed 2 cousins last year. King 5's Jim Nelson joins us now live in studio. And Jim, it sounds like those families don't think that that was enough.
No, they are not happy, especially because the driver had previously been involved in that first deadly crash, which happened when he was a minor. Tonight, those families are remembering their sons as more than a number. Inside the King County Courthouse,
They lack injustice.
heartbreak all over again.
It's bad, very bad.
It's been nearly 2 years since a deadly hit and run on I-5 in Seattle claimed the life of cousins Skylar Thornton and Terrell Aaron. A year and a half of court appearances by Antonio Lopez, who was eventually found guilty. But his sentence, 10 years in prison, 18 months probation, isn't sitting well.
Disrespected. This whole process seems inhumane.
Tamiko Struthers is Skylar's mom, a 34-year-old who loved helping others.
I don't feel that justice has been done.
Arletha Calloway Struthers is Terrell's mom, a 38-year-old who loved to laugh. But they're not alone in their pain. Their sons died in February of 2023. In 2017, Grisel Lasoya's 21-year-old son Kevin was killed in a hit and run by the same driver. The suspect, Lopez, was 15 back then.
I'm very sad for them too, because the first time with my son wasn't enough justice, and very go again, the judge and the system, they give him nothing.
In the 2023 incident, Lopez ran into the cousins after they pulled over due to a separate minor crash. Prosecutors said Lopez never stopped and fled to Mexico, only to be picked up as he crossed back into the U.S. months later. The long legal road may be over, but the fight for justice is not.
Stay tuned. You may see me around again because I am an advocate and an activist.
Technically speaking, the sentencing adds up to more than 20 years, but the judge is allowing those years to be served simultaneously, which reduces the actual time served. And that's the decision that's most upsetting to those families. In the studio, Jim Nelson, King 5 News.
All right, turning to the weather now, a live look at downtown Seattle, where it has been an active night. You can see all those raindrops on the camera right there. Yeah. Impressive to see.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett with us now. Mike, this rain, is it going to stick with us for a while?
Oh, yeah. We're tracking one system after another that's doing a couple things here. It's keeping the roads wet tonight, but it's also driving some snow into the mountains, which is fantastic for building and establishing that snowpack now that we've crossed over into winter. Live look from a kayak camera showing that roads are in pretty good shape up towards Snoqualmie Pass. And as you go up towards the mountains there, just a few hundred feet above that, you're seeing a lot of snow piling up there. That's fantastic news for folks who are planning on heading up there over the last weekend of 2024. Tracking some widespread stratiform rain, a fancy way of saying widespread and steady, but nothing particularly intense out there right now. System that just hammered Portland earlier today is now winding down, but all of that coming with some surge along the coast. High surf advisory in place. That'll be there until 7 p.m. on Saturday. The area in white down towards the south of that is a beach hazard statement. We're asking people to just stay away from the immediate coastline because of the potential for some sneaker waves. Winter weather advisory remains in the mountains through Saturday at 4 p.m., but I have a feeling it'll be extended. I'll tell you why coming up.
Mike, thank you. Let's take a look at our passes right now. There are no restrictions over Snoqualmie at the moment. Traction tires are advised on Stevens, Blewett, and White passes. But make sure you check the conditions before you head out the door. You can do that by staying up to date with the latest weather conditions with our King 5 app. You can also watch the latest forecast anytime on our streaming channel, King 5 Plus. Both apps are free to download on any of your devices.
Homeowners and business owners can now apply for low-interest loans if they were impacted by the bomb cyclone that tore through Washington last month. The Small Business Administration says the help will be available in King, Pierce, Snohomish, Kitsap, Kittitas, Chelan, and Yakima counties. The deadline to apply is February 21st. The loans are available on a first-come, first-served basis. For more information, we can send you all the information and links. Text the word loan to 206-448-4545.
In eastern Washington, Pullman police are investigating a deadly shooting near the Washington State University campus. Police say around 3 in the morning on Christmas Eve, a 28-year-old man was shot in the Greek Row area. That victim later died from his injuries at the hospital. Police right now are still searching for potential suspects.
Our violent crime rates are low in the city of Pullman, and I hope that this is not a trend that we continue.
That shooting happened while many Wazoo students were on winter break.
An auto theft suspect on the run from law enforcement in Thurston County was not able to outrun technology. Olympia police tried to pull over a car on Thursday night that was reported to be stolen. Thurston County Sheriff deputies also tried to pull that car over, but the driver would not stop. Sheriff Derek Sanders says the driver eventually crashed the SUV and took off on foot into a nearby swamp. The department then called in their infrared drone and a canine. After a 30-minute search, the suspect was found in a tree. Police say he was also a suspect in a stolen vehicle case from the day before.
In Issaquah, 5 people were sent to the hospital after a crash that involved 3 cars. It happened around 2:30 this afternoon on Issaquah-Hobart Road Southeast near Highway 18. 2 people have serious injuries. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. An iconic lesbian bar in Seattle is raising a toast to 4 decades of resilience. Over the last 40 years, the Wild Rose in the Capitol Hill neighborhood has carved out a legacy as one of the oldest in the country.
King 5's Facing Race team and assignment editor Kendra Gilbert takes us through the decades of cocktails, community, and perseverance.
Capitol Hill on a Friday night. Wild Rose is thriving.
That's the Dutch mule, yeah.
Riley Durkee is serving drinks and belonging.
Knowing the history definitely contributes to wanting to do a good job and wanting to be friendly.
At 30 years old, Durkee is still a decade younger than the bar she stands behind.
It feels like a little bit more than bartending, I guess.
I'm just trying to make it clear.
The Wild Rose has been a cornerstone for beers and queers.
It was kind of a new concept.
Since Briar Herrick and 4 friends came up with the idea in 1984.
We're going to make a change. We're going to have a women's bar that has windows, that has food, that has light, that advertises, that has a community presence, and where our families are welcome.
Herrick says they were done hiding gay establishments in back alleys and behind closed doors. So the Rose, as the bar's regulars call it, opened on New Year's Eve.
It was really exciting.
Back in the 80s, there were around 200 lesbian bars like the Wild Rose open and operating across the U.S. Fast forward to today, and that number has dropped to 34, spread out across only 17 states and the District of Columbia.
Some drag kings.
In Seattle, co-owners Martha Manning and Shelley Brothers continue to carry the torch.
It's a legacy. It does feel like that. So I just, keeping that going is just, it's everything.
Keeping the Wild Rose going is personal for its owners.
It's a lot of my identity. It's a lot of my history. It's given me my closest friends, my wife. I believe in what we do, and I want to keep it going.
I think the reason we've held on so long is just because we were determined to do it.
That determination led the Rose to survival during the pandemic. The push to keep it open, to go against the trend, continues. Many lesbian bars don't last.
Disparity of income, I think the way women and men socialize sometimes vary and differ.
Who owns women's bars? I mean, it's typically women.
Dr. Jen Self is a lecturer in gender, women, and sexuality studies at the University of Washington.
Lesbians in this country have always been working, been working class, been mothers, been like, so as gay men built their spaces and were used to being able to be, at least in public as men, women didn't have that same thing.
Regardless of the reasons these bars struggle, one thing is clear. The need for a space like the Wild Rose is there.
In 2012, I moved here, and the first place we went was the Wild Rose, because we were like, that's the lesbian bar that we looked up. And ever since then, it's been like a very important place.
That need, having lasted 40 years, seems it will survive for the next generation.
All my best friends are queer, gay ladies, so it's just a nice place we get to go. I'm so happy that even though you grew up in a different place, you brought me here and you raised me here, so I get to have places like this.
A Wild Rose, by any other name, would smell as sweet, as long as it stays true to the founding vision.
I like the idea of gay bars. I like the idea of a women's bar. I like a place where when I go in there, I know it's going to be my people, it's going to be my allies.
With photojournalist Joseph Huerta, for Facing Race, Kendra Gilbert, King 5 News.
If you have a story idea for our Face and Race team, send an email to race@king5.com.
Right now with the new snow and the good conditions too, I mean, that's also bringing obviously a lot of people to the mountain.
More snow, more business, and a growing snowpack. We check in with people at Crystal Mountain to see the latest conditions.
And someone could be getting a belated Christmas present tonight in the form of some serious cash. The Mega Millions drawing that is now surpassing $1 billion.
Welcome to Liberty University, where giving God our best is what we train to do. Where protecting your time, your budget, and your education is our priority. Where degrees meet industry demands and help get you ahead of the competition. Where college comes to you, but you can come to college too. Your school, your values, your choice. Welcome to Liberty University, where we train champions for Christ.
If you're clean and you know it, wiggle round. If you're clean and you know it, boogie down. New Skin Essentials wipes are as gentle as they come. Zero harsh stuff and a good clean on your bum.
Tonight, the Chelan County Sheriff has identified who they believe was behind the wheel of this truck that tore up the sledding hill in Leavenworth last weekend. They're now looking for a man from Texas to arrest him for malicious mischief and reckless driving. The sledding hill was closed for a couple of days, but thanks to the recent snow, sledders were zooming down that hill once again this week.
And with all that fresh snow in our mountains, our local resorts are packed now with skiers and snowboarders who are looking to hit the slopes.
That's right. Pierce County Bureau Chief Connor Board went to Greenwater today to talk with skiers who are headed to Crystal Mountain.
Here in Greenwater, just off the highway, headed to Crystal Mountain, there is no snow and the roads right now are in good condition. But up at Crystal Mountain, they have seen more than 2 feet of snow in the past 48 hours.
All right, and that is a freshly waxed ski. Hi, welcome in.
It's been busy inside the Greenwater Collective.
And we scraped that down to get it flat with the ski.
With Crystal Mountain opening early this ski season before Thanksgiving, people have been needing their gear tuned up.
We're in on the binding at a 7 based on all the stats that you gave us here.
And this week between Christmas and New Year's is one of the busiest, especially this year.
right now with the new snow and the good conditions too, I mean, that's also bringing obviously a lot of people to the mountain.
The fresh snow the past few days and expected snow headed into the new year is something Greenwater Collective owner Tiana Anderson is excited about.
I mean, gosh, when you look at the forecast and you see snow kind of, every day, at least through the next week, that's what skiers are looking for, and that's what gets us out of bed in the morning and gets us up on the mountain.
Her customers have high hopes.
I mean, a couple feet would be cool. I just got my new powder skis fitted, so I'm excited to try these out.
These skiers say the new snowfall is paying off up the road at Crystal.
It was like super foggy, but there was a bunch of powder, which was cool. The last time we were here, it was like super icy and wet and kind of gross, so it was nice to actually get some good snow.
The snow was so good Thursday, they were headed back Friday.
We'll probably take a couple runs, cook some steaks, hang out,
While they are looking forward to the rest of their day, Tiana is looking forward to the rest of the season.
It's a La Nina winter, which typically means colder temps, more snow than usual, so keep it coming.
Thank you. You're welcome. If you are headed up to Crystal Mountain, a good reminder is that there are parking reservations required through New Year's Day if you show up before noon. In Greenwater, Connor Board, King 5 News.
The summit at Snoqualmie took the wraps off of a brand new chairlift on Alpental today. The international lift has been years in the making. Construction took about 2 years and proved to be quite the challenge. Due to its location, helicopters had to be used to fly all of the parts and equipment in. Resort President Guy Lawrence says that a bigger experience now awaits riders.
Whether they've been skiing here for 40, 50 years, and in some cases there's a few people still doing that, or whether it be newer generations, yeah, the experience is just going to be so much better.
In addition to offering the new experience, Lawrence says the international lift will also help clear up some of the congestion seen during the resort's busier days.
Someone who's no stranger to any of our local resorts is Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett. You got to love seeing that, don't you?
Oh, yeah, and that's going to open up some fantastic terrain that you used to have to traverse over to. Can't wait to get up there, and on Sunday, I'm going to do exactly that. We're going to be tracking some active weather. Take a look behind me here. You think it's snow, but it's not. It's wind-driven rain off towards Westport. Taking a little bit of a pan here from the beach over towards the town here. It's going to be soggy. In fact, it's going to stay pretty rainy overnight tonight. And we are still tracking some heavy seas there, as we were talking about earlier. There are high wave warnings, and remember, there's that special coastal warning. We're just asking people to stay away from the beaches of Washington and Oregon because sneaker waves are a thing. They can creep up and just catch you off guard. I've seen way too many videos of it happening. Here's what we're looking at. It's going to be rainy and gusty on Saturday. Again, no watches or warnings related to wind, but it will be definitely blustery out there. Rain at times on Sunday, and then we are looking at the potential for some rain on New Year's Eve. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. And it looks like 2025 is going to start off on a cool note. One interesting thing, though, warm front moving through tonight puts us at 52 tomorrow, which is well above the average of 46, which is normal for this time of year. Looks like the first weekend of 2025 could be relatively warm as well. We've been talking snow, so let's keep right on going. As of this morning, Baker, Stevens Pass, and White Pass all had fresh deliveries. Mission Ridge, Crystal Mountain, and the summit at Snoqualmie all picking up some good stuff there as well. And as you may guess, there is more on the way. In fact, by the time the lifts are turning tomorrow, Baker picks up about another half a foot. Crystal picks up about 3 inches. Mission Ridge with the cold, dry stuff, about 2.5 inches there. And then as the weekend progresses, Sunday morning, now we're starting to measure it in double digits, especially up towards Baker and Paradise. Remember, there is still avalanche danger. Be very careful and stay in low terrain until we get some better news from the folks at NWAC. By the time we get to Monday, yeah, the hits keep on coming. Stevens with 19 inches. This is going to be a fantastic weekend. One thing to keep an eye on, though, is snow levels. So far, they've been very polite, staying above that 3,000-foot level. They're going to dip down to a very cool place Tuesday and Wednesday, and that could cause some past impacts starting Sunday through Wednesday until we can get it back up over 4 again. Live look from SCA right now, where it's, you may imagine, very busy there. Here's what's happening. We've got that system that's pushing in, but because most of the energy went to the south, it's not really affecting us as hard as it could be. Still, it's rainy and blustery out there. Meanwhile, the storm that smacked Texas on Christmas Day is making its way towards the north and east. Freezing rain expected in New York overnight tonight, and up towards the Great Lakes, they've got an active system there as well. When you take all the airplanes off it, the midsection of the country looking pretty good, but yeah, the Great Lakes region, Chicago, and the eastern seaboard will be active for travelers. Current radar shows us active right now. We've got some steady stratiform rain moving through. Fancy way of just saying widespread and steady, but nothing particularly intense. And you can see it's starting to break apart a little bit. So it's going to be rainy for the next couple hours here until the next delivery comes in. By the way, on Sunday, this system that we're tracking here will be a cold one. So you're noticing more lavender in the mountains there, meaning that it's going to be lower snow levels and fairly active up there. And then this is Tuesday at 10 p.m. What's significant about that? Well, it's New Year's Eve. We are tracking a system that could potentially have us rainy, cold, and cloudy, but it's still a few days away, so there is the possibility that it may speed up or slow down between now and then, and you can bet we'll be the first ones who keep you posted. It's going to be active tonight. We'll see that rain continue to rotate through, but the bigger story is the wind. Now, I'm not seeing any of the dreaded purples that indicate winds over 40 miles an hour, at least not on a long-term basis, so it will be blustery tomorrow, but there are no watches or warnings related to that. 7-day forecast shows us wrapping up 2024 on a cool and wet note and starting 2025 on the exact same note.
If you look above the machine, that is the machine that sold that winning ticket. So superstitious, I just keep coming back to that one.
As people check their Mega Millions numbers tonight, some in Auburn are hoping that one store brings them luck. We'll explain.
If you're clean and you know it, wiggle round. If you're clean and you know it, boogie down. New Skin Essentials wipes are as gentle as they come. Zero harsh stuff and a good clean on your bum.
All right, get out your tickets and listen carefully. Here are the winning numbers from tonight's $1.22 billion Mega Millions drawing. 3, 7, 37, 49, 55, and a mega ball of 6. We are still waiting to find out if there is a big winner tonight. I'm not one of those.
Neither am I, but look, last year Fred Meyer in Auburn actually sold someone a winning Powerball ticket worth nearly $755 million. So earlier today, King 5 Sebastian Robertson caught up with some returning customers who were hoping to strike gold again.
Can help the next person.
It's never really about the money.
$12.50 back to you.
It's the freedom it would bring.
10 tickets.
And of course, the stuff you could buy.
Lotto or Mega?
So much stuff.
Mega Millions. The big jackpot.
We'd get a bigger boat. Yep, and then probably some soccer jerseys.
Then I'm going to change my name and run away.
Tonight's Mega Million drawing could mint a new billionaire. The jackpot listed at $1.2 billion with a B, as in boatload of money. A number so high, the digital display can't keep up.
If you look above the machine, that is the machine that sold that winning ticket. So superstitious, I just keep coming back to that one.
Yes, in February of last year, a soon-to-be retired Boeing employee named Becky Bell bought the winning lottery ticket at this very Fred Meyer. The jackpot, more than $754 million. Hers was the second jackpot. The first bought in Auburn back in 2014, where someone walked away with $90 million. Tonight,
okay.
Many are hopeful for a hat trick.
And you're going to come back and give me a cut when you win?
Oh, definitely.
I'm going to buy my first one right now, ever. She said, well, look at the amount. Maybe it's time.
Should Kelly Thompson win, she'll have enough money to do whatever she wants.
Lord above.
Whatever that might be.
My fantasy I can't share with publicly.
If you win, there will be signs, they say. That was Sebastian Robertson reporting. The store is rewarded for selling the winning ticket. Last year, that Fred Meyer received $50,000. $10,000 was divided up among store employees. It's pretty awesome. And the rest was donated to a local food bank.
A lot of places are probably just going to build that increase in price into the menu items.
Still ahead here on King 5 News, the debate is brewing in Seattle over tipping as a change to the city's minimum wage law is set to take effect in the new year. What it means for restaurants and customers.
Plus, new details on the plane crash in Kazakhstan, the speculation over what caused it to go down. Stay with us. King 5 News is straight ahead.
A college degree is more than a diploma. It's taking control of your future and finding that next step. At Liberty, you'll find more ways than one to get there. Over 600 online programs, one you, infinite possibilities.
Thanks for joining us for this half hour. I'm Madison Wade.
I'm Steve Solis. Here's the top story we're following for you tonight. The man who killed 2 other men in a hit and run on I-5 in Seattle has been sentenced to 10 years in prison, but the families wanted to see Antonio Lopez get more time. Lopez took off from that scene and fled to Mexico. He wasn't arrested until he crossed back across the border back in the U.S. months after that crash.
The new year will bring an increase to Seattle's minimum wage at just over $20 an hour. It will be one of the highest in the nation. Many restaurant workers could see the biggest pay bump because of a change in how tips can be counted. That has sparked a big debate about the practice. Here's King 5's Bridget Chavez.
This wage hike means all employees will earn at least $20.76 per hour. And while some say they'll continue to tip regardless of that increase, it has others questioning whether or not they will continue to do so. To tip?
Always tip.
Or not to tip?
I'm probably half for 2/3 of the time.
That's the question sparking debate online.
I'm always going to continue tipping.
It comes just days before the city of Seattle is set to implement one of the highest minimum wages in the country. Some restaurants say the increase could hurt business.
A lot of restaurants are going to have razor-thin 1% to 3% margins when it comes to profit. So a lot of places are probably just going to build that increase in price into the menu items.
Right now, restaurants can pay a $17.25 hourly wage as long as employees earn at least $2.72 in tips per hour or medical benefits. Starting January 1st, across the board, everyone will make at least $20.76 per hour.
And you?
Brandon Nyland has worked in the service industry for about 8 years. He says the increase is a welcome one.
Going from 17 to 20, you're going to see those raises and cost of living adjustments in a 9-to-5 corporate world as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Carol Brown and Ann Phillips say regardless of the increase, they'll keep on tipping.
Tip means to ensure prompt service, right? That's where that old saying came from.
But the two differ when it comes to who or what is actually taking their orders.
I certainly go, do I want to right now when there wasn't any kind of necessarily exchange between me and the people working.
Regardless of whether a machine took my order, somebody's back there preparing it.
Other cities in our area will also see increases. Bellingham will go up to more than $17 per hour and Tukwila more than $21 per hour. Reporting in Seattle, Bridget Chavez, King 5 News.
The minimum wage will increase across the state in the new year. It will now be $16.66 per hour, a more than 2% increase from this year. But as Bridget mentioned, some cities will see it even go higher. The federal minimum wage still remains at $7.25 an hour.
With the new year comes new laws across Washington, and one of them is adding a new criminal offense for drivers who endanger people while they're walking, biking, or riding scooters on the roads. Negligent driving with a vulnerable user victim in the first degree is now classified as a gross misdemeanor. Drivers could face jail time, a fine, and even a driving suspension. Another new law will ban the sale of cosmetics tested on animals. However, the law says animal testing may be allowed if it's required by federal or state regulations, but under strict conditions. Violators will face fines of up to $5,000. For a look at the others, including changes to the paid sick leave for app drivers, text the word laws to 206-448-4545 and we'll send you a link.
President-elect Donald Trump is asking the Supreme Court for more time to save TikTok. Trump submitted an amicus brief to the Supreme Court and asked them to pause implementation of a law that would ban TikTok in the U.S. The ban would take effect on January 19th if the app is not sold by its Chinese parent company. The court is due to hear arguments on January 10th.